Step into a world of romance and mystery with Tamora Rose. There's a particular kind of love story that does not rush. It lingers in candlelit rooms and whispered conversations, and glances that last a moment too long, and touches that almost happen, but don't. It's the kind of romance that asks your reader to wait, and then rewards that patience with something unforgettable. This is the slow burn. At its core, a slow burn romance is not about delay for the sake of delay. It's about transformation. It's about watching two people circle one another, drawn together by something undeniable, yet held apart by forces that feel just as real. In a world of instant attraction and immediate payoff, the slow burn dares to stretch time. It asks, what if love is not something that happens all at once? Something that unfolds, minute by minute, layer by layer, moment by moment. And when it's done well, it becomes less about whether they will fall in love and more about how long they can resist it. The power of the slow burn lies in anticipation. There's something deeply intoxicating about wanting something just out of reach. When characters cannot act on their feelings, whether because of duty, fear, or circumstance, every small interaction becomes charged with meaning. A glance across a crowded ballroom, a hand brushing against another in the dark, a conversation that skirts dangerously close to confession before pulling back. These moments matter because they're not resolved. They hang in the air, unresolved and aching, pulling the reader forward with quiet urgency. The truth is, desire often burns brighter in restraint than in fulfillment. But anticipation alone is not enough. For a slow burn to truly captivate, it must be anchored in characters that feel real, layered, and deeply human. Your protagonists cannot simply be placeholders waiting to fall in love. They must be people with histories, with wounds, with reasons for hesitation. A woman who has learned that love comes at too great a cost. A man who has built his life on control, unwilling to risk it for something as uncertain as emotion. And when these two people meet, the attraction should be undeniable. But so should the resistance. Because if there is no reason to hesitate, there is no reason to wait. Obstacles are the heartbeat of a slow burn, and the most powerful obstacles are never flimsy. They are not misunderstandings that could be resolved by a single question or conversation. That's annoying. They are not convenient delays placed between your characters simply to stretch the story. That's also irritating. Instead, they're rooted in something deeper. Perhaps it is a promise made long ago, a loyalty that cannot be broken, a war that divides them, a society that would never accept them together. Or perhaps the greatest barrier is something within, a fear of vulnerability, a fear of loss, fear of becoming someone they no longer recognize. Whatever form these obstacles take, they must feel insurmountable until they aren't. Within these constraints, the romance begins to breathe. Slow burn is not built on grand declarations. It's built on subtlety. It is in the way one character notices the other when no one else does. The way a sharp exchange of words hides something softer beneath it. The way silence stretches between them, filled with everything they cannot say. Those are the moments that define the genre. A lingering look can carry more weight than a kiss. A withheld confession can echo louder than spoken love. And when you trust these quiet moments, you allow your readers to feel the tension rather than simply observe it. As the story unfolds, something else must happen alongside the growing connection. Change. A slow burn without growth is simply delay. But a slow burn with transformation becomes something far more powerful. Each interaction between your characters should shift them, even if only slightly. A guarded heart begins to open. A rigid belief begins to soften. A person who once stood alone begins to imagine a different future. They do not simply fall in love. They become capable of love. And by the time they reach that moment of surrender, when walls finally fall away, it feels earned. It feels inevitable. It feels right. Of course, even the slowest burn cannot be sustained on tension alone. Your story must offer glimpses of what is to come. These are your moments of release, small, carefully placed rewards that remind the reader why they are waiting. A fleeting embrace after danger has passed, a rare moment of honesty that slips through the cracks of restraint, a shared laugh that feels just a little too intimate. These moments do not resolve the tension, they deepen it. They say, this is what it could be, if only things were different. And that if is what keeps the pages turning. Pacing then becomes your greatest challenge, and your greatest tool. Move too quickly and you lose the magic. Move too slowly and you risk losing your reader entirely. The key is movement. Even when your characters are not coming together, something must be shifting. The nature of their relationship should evolve. What begins as resistance may soften into reluctant understanding. What begins as indifference may grow into curiosity, then into trust, then into something far more dangerous. At the same time, the world around them must continue to press in. External pressures, whether political, social, or personal, should tighten alongside the emotional tension, raising the stakes with every passing chapter. The closer they come to love, the more they stand to lose. And then there's payoff. This is the moment everything has been building toward, the moment when restraint finally breaks, when truth can no longer be denied. It may come in the form of a confession, spoken at the edge of ruin. It may come in a kiss that feels less like a beginning and more like an inevitable conclusion. It may come in a choice, one that risks everything for the chance at something more. Whatever form it takes, it must feel like release, not just for the characters, but for the reader as well. Because a true slow burn does not simply deliver romance, it delivers catharsis. There are, of course, pitfalls along the way. One of the most common is the illusion of tension without substance. If your characters are kept apart for reasons that feel thin or contrived, readers will sense it. The anticipation turns to frustration. The emotional thread begins to fray. Another is the absence of chemistry. If there's no spark from the beginning, no sense that these two people belong together, then the wait becomes meaningless. And perhaps the most dangerous of all is dragging the story beyond its natural conclusion. A slow burn should feel like a drawn bow, held taut until the moment of release. But if that tension is stretched too far, it loses its strength. The goal is not to delay endlessly. It is to delay with purpose. When everything comes together, when the characters, the obstacles, the tension, the growth align, the result is something extraordinary. A slow burn romance lingers. It stays with the reader long after the final page, not because of a single moment, but because of the journey that led there. Because they felt every hesitation, every glance, every almost. Because they didn't just witness the love story, they experienced it. So when you sit down to craft your own slow burn, remember this. You are not writing about waiting. You are writing about longing. You are writing about the quiet moments that speak louder than words, the choices that shape who your characters become, the delicate balance between desire and restraint. And when you bring those elements together with care, you create something that doesn't just entertain. You create something that aches. That's it for today. Tell me your favorite slow burn romance, or the moment in a story that made the wait worth it. Until we meet again, May your days be filled with passion and just a touch of magic.